You don't need Montessori certification, expensive materials, or a huge space to create a Montessori-inspired home daycare. You need clarity and simplicity, and that's what this video will give you. If you run an in-home daycare and feel overwhelmed by the idea of Montessori, this video is for you. We're going to talk about what actually changes when you move toward a Montessori-inspired approach and what doesn't. We're going to start small. Little changes here and there that will make a big impact on your daycare program. Montessori is not about wooden toys or expensive shelves. At its core, Montessori is about three things: the prepared environment, independence, and respect for the child. For an in-home daycare, this means your space works for the children, not against them. This means it works for you too. It means children can choose work, move freely, and care for their environment at their level. This makes for a happy community. You do not need Montessori certification to apply Montessori principles in your in-home daycare. You do not need to call your program Montessori. And you do not need a full classroom or perfect materials. Most in-home daycare providers succeed by using a Montessori-inspired model that fits licensing rules and real life. Change number 1, the environment. Lower shelves, fewer materials, aka less clutter. Everything accessible to the child. Even if you just have one shelf to start out with, keep it simple, with only 2 or 3 activities on each level of your shelf. You could even start with having activities on your shelf that the children already know how to do, such as simple puzzles, blocks, or animal figurines in a basket. Try to avoid toys that make a lot of noise with batteries. So this can help them to practice using the materials in a Montessori way, a Montessori procedure, before you rotate in more advanced Montessori activities. First of all, show them that they can choose one activity at a time that they can bring to a table or a work rug. They must restore the activity to its original condition and then return it to its place on the shelf before choosing something new. If you don't already have multiple shelves, that's okay. Just start with one low shelf and only put activities that are appropriate for the children in your care, considering their developmental level and safety measures. In Montessori, we follow the child. This means we tailor our environments to meet the needs and interests of the children in our care. So if you have babies and young toddlers, you probably don't want to have anything accessible that is a choking hazard, for example, or at least put some items on the top shelf where they can't reach. Have at least one child-sized table to bring work to and work rugs for working on the floor. I find that work rugs are very important because it helps children to understand that and respect each other's space. Also, we never sit on the work rugs. They are only for our work. So that helps us to respect the work and the activities as well. And work rugs, we walk around them. We do not sit on them. They're for our work. You can find Montessori work rugs online, or you can just use any rugs from Walmart, Target, or Dollar General, for example. As long as they're easy to roll up, they should be around 2 feet by 4 feet, maybe a little bigger, maybe or smaller. Again, it doesn't have to be expensive or perfect. The idea is that the children in your care practice respecting other children's space and that they care for the materials. Each work is used with care at a table or on a work rug. It has its own space on the shelf, and it's returned in good condition. Change number 2, the daily flow. Longer work periods, fewer interruptions, more choice. One important aspect of a Montessori environment is that it's not overly scheduled out. Children are given a work period that is at least 2.5 hours long, ideally 3 hours, although you may want to start with an hour to 90 minutes. When children are given a long stretch of time to explore and work with activities in their environment, they have many opportunities to develop concentration. If we're constantly interrupting them to do the next thing on our schedule, we rob them of the chance to experience deep concentration and expand their concentration. When children are engaged in an activity that they are very interested in without interruption, they are able to deeply concentrate in a way that could be quite unbelievable to someone who has never witnessed this in young children, who can oftentimes be seen to bounce from activity to activity. This ability to concentrate is what sets children up to be successful learners when they begin doing more advanced activities and learning about concepts that require a higher level of concentration. Change number 3, the adult role. Less directing, more observing, supporting independence instead of controlling behavior. This ties back really nicely to having longer work periods. We want to avoid interruption. Now, this one's really tricky, but if you see a child settled into an activity and doing a really good job with it, try to refrain from saying things like "good job" or "wow." This is actually when we need to make ourselves scarce. Most likely, this child has finally reached a state of concentration. Concentration is precious. Once it's interrupted, it's really hard to get it back. I'm sure you all know this from your own experience, but it's especially true for small children. So, when you see a child concentrating, sit back and discreetly observe how long that concentration lasts, and watch more when they're struggling with something to see if they can succeed on their own. If they do need help, give them just a little bit of help. For example, if they're having trouble zipping their jacket, maybe just get their zipper started, but don't zip it all the way up. Let them do that. And when you show them how to do an activity for the first time, show them as slowly and deliberately as possible, and try to pause after each little tiny step. And sometimes as a grown-up, we take for granted how many steps an activity actually takes. So that's why you go real slow. And after you do one little thing, pause. We do not want to talk during a presentation of a new activity. We try not to talk at all if it's possible. Sometimes we have to explain something, but really we want to do it quietly, silently even, because we want them to absorb what they see so that it can really make an impression on them. If we talk, we can actually interrupt their concentration and distract them from absorbing what they are seeing you do. So again, show how to do things quietly, slowly, and deliberately. And then allow the child to have a turn, but do not correct them. Do not interfere. Allow them to continue whatever activity you have shown them how to do for as long as they want and as often as they would like. They will oftentimes self-correct through practice and continue concentrating while building a deep connection with the activity and self-confidence. If you only do one thing after this video, start with your shelves, even if it's just one shelf. Choose fewer materials, a very uncluttered shelf with a few quality, familiar activities. Rotate those activities intentionally. Observe how children use them. Show them quietly and deliberately how to use and restore each material. I've created a free checklist to help you transition your in-home daycare into a Montessori-Inspired program step by step. You'll find the link in the description. If you want more practical Montessori guidance for your in-home daycares, subscribe here.